So welcome back, guys. Today is a really exciting one. We're joined by Damian from Liminal VR. So I've been looking forward to this for a very long time because VR is a massive interest of mine. So welcome to the podcast, Damian. Why don't we start by you telling us a little bit about what you guys do and we go from there.
Thanks, Jordan. So my name is Damian Moratti. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Liminal VR. So I founded the company with my business partner conceptually in late 2014, but we incorporated the company in 2015. So we've been at this for about a decade now. And there's really two branches to what we do. On the one branch, we act as effectively a digital studio where we develop bespoke training and simulation and clinical and marketing experiences, pretty much anything that people would like developed in virtual reality. And then the other branch is where we have the Liminal platform, which is a platform for short VR experiences designed to change how people feel and perform. So that's one of the most popular non-gaming VR apps in the world right now.
And so I still remember viscerally many years ago, my first time putting on a VR headset. And I remember coming out of it feeling as though my worldview had changed. I thought, this is the future. How could this not be the future? Oh my God, we're all going to be living in virtual reality. Obviously, that's not the case, but some of the applications are really exciting. So where do you see the industry going as a whole? And do you see a day where we all will be living in like a Ready Player One VR world?
Well, who knows, but we might be in a simulation already, right?
According to Elon. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but look, so I had a very similar experience to yourself using a relatively crappy Google Cardboard and for those people who don't know what that is, it's effectively literally a small cardboard box that you can slot your phone into, and it gives you a very, very basic VR experience. And Google Cardboard in general is a double-edged sword in the sense that it introduced millions of people to virtual reality, but it's also really bad experience with, bad frame rates and latency and things like that. So some people like myself, like use Google Cardboard and it's like, this is the future. Other people use it and they're like, oh my God, that made me sick. I'm never going to use VR again. But yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that because in 2014, when we kind of started things at Liminal, that was around the time that Facebook at the time, now Meta, had acquired Oculus. And VR was, in many people's estimations, was going to follow a similar growth pattern to like the iPhone, right? And that didn't happen at the time for, in retrospect, what are some very good and obvious reasons. But, 12 months after we started the company and did our first SWOT analysis, the 5-year VR market projections were downgraded by $90 billion. Now, that doesn't paint a very optimistic picture of the industry, but it's certainly not all doom and gloom. And I obviously a huge evangelist of virtual reality. If you look at the development of VR, and sorry to go into a very brief history lesson, but I think it's relevant. The first mention of virtual reality as we understand it today was in the 90s in a book called Pygmalion's Spectacles. And then the first actual headset that looks anything like what we would consider to be a VR or AR headset today was developed in like the very late 1960s. And then you had this consistent progression in the 80s and 90s. You had movies like the Lawnmower Man. But VR is technically very challenging from the perspective of humans are very susceptible to motion to photon latency, where like when you turn your head, there's a slight lag before catching up. So the hardware really wasn't ready, but the really big game changer in the space has been the Meta Quest. So the Meta Quest, another standalone headsets where you don't need a powerful gaming computer. You don't need to spend half an hour setting up external sensors. It all just works out of the box and fits into the size of a shoebox, really. So we've seen the progression from the Meta Quest 1 to currently the Meta Quest 3 and S. So the hardware has been evolving. And as the hardware evolves, it also affords opportunities for organizations like ours to take advantage of the unique properties of virtual reality to create novel and very useful and exciting experiences.
Yeah, and I see that there's a couple of those experiences detailed on your website, and they really make a lot of sense, like as far as training, education, even corporate applications. What are some of the most popular applications that you guys at Liminal have created, or you see often requested by customers?
So by far, like our marquee product is the Liminal platform, and that's being used in a wide range of use cases and organizations. So we've had around a million downloads now. So the Liminal platform has 6 different categories: calm, energy, focus, relief, and sleep. They're all pretty self-explanatory. Like if you want something to help you get to sleep, or to help perk you up, or help you focus, or alleviate pain, help you calm down, or whatever it is, it's, when I use VR, and similar story to what you said earlier, I was really struck by the power that virtual reality had to induce and augment emotional and cognitive states. So the Liminal platform is all about that. It's like, how can we induce a sense of awe? How can we calm people down? How can we help alleviate pain, or help people focus, or perk them up, or help them sleep? So that by far is our marquee product. And then in terms of bespoke training and simulation and marketing stuff, we've done everything from teaching mushroom pickers how to pick mushrooms in farms, to teaching people how to troubleshoot hydraulic machines going down, to soft skills training, how to deal with aggressive clients, to management training, how to interact with staff in certain situations. VR as a medium is very flexible and can be adapted to lots of different things.
Nice. And are you guys exploring augmented reality at all? Do you feel like it's a stepping stone to a full VR experience, or do you think they're completely separate?
I don't think so. AR, MR, VR, XR, spatial computing, I think they're all linked in many ways. Like you use the same software and tools to develop them. There are some people that have the narrative that, like augmented reality or mixed reality is going to be the next big thing, and VR will kind of go away. But really what we're talking about are different levels of immersion. So sometimes it makes a lot of sense to have something in MR. For example, we were the development partners with some researchers at Swinburne University, creating effectively exposure therapy for people with OCD. So mixed reality makes a lot of sense for that, because you can see your hands, you can see like germs crawling on your hands if you touch something that's contaminated. So it makes a lot of sense there. And we can think of many applications where embedding digital content over the real world makes sense. But there's also something really fundamental about VR, where you're completely immersed in an environment that can have these profound psychological impacts on people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, and then so in building Liminal VR, what do you think have been some of the biggest challenges that you guys have faced? I imagine there's plenty, especially if you've been around for quite a while as you have, but let's say over the last 1 year.
Yeah, well, look, we're a self-funded bootstrap company. So
Okay.
you've got everything that comes with that. So, you have to bring in enough revenue to pay the staff, that they all insist on not working for free. And, you have to build a sales pipeline, and work with clients, and provide value and an ROI for them. So it's always on a day-to-day basis. If we're talking over the last 12 months, it's about delivering the projects for clients on time and to their meeting or exceeding their expectations, and then reinvesting any proceeds, any profit we might make from those projects into the Liminal platform, and updating new experiences regularly. So we currently have over 135 experiences on Liminal. And for example, we just launched one today, which is an EMDR calm experience. So it's about juggling delivering projects for clients, and then building up our own platform.
And so who are typically your clients? Because it sounds like you have two core products, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the Liminal platform is available on the MetaQuest right now. It's a freemium subscription model, so anyone can download it and use it for free, and then you can subscribe or buy credit packs to unlock more content. So that is used by people at home that just want to chill out, or all the things that I mentioned earlier, help them sleep or experience awe. Awe is a very underrated emotion, by the way, but that's a side note. And then it's also used in other settings, like for example, we have psychologists in the Ukraine who's using it to help with soldiers that suffer from PTSD. It's being used in palliative care centers in Italy. We had dozens of schools around Australia for students, to help students regulate their emotions, and that can be broken down into a number of different specific use cases within schools. And then also for enterprise clients, for having a well-being option for staff, as well as being used in some clinical settings to help with the different therapies. So the Liminal platform is very broad in its use case. And then with the bespoke projects, VR is a medium. It's a bit like TV, right? Like you could have a soap opera or a hardcore horror movie or anything in between. And that's certainly what we experience. Like usually it's about companies finding efficiencies, especially things that high risk. For example, I mentioned the hydraulic machine troubleshooting earlier. That's a great example of what you can use virtual reality for, because if you don't turn off a lever while you're troubleshooting this, you can be sprayed with boiling hot hydraulic fluid, and then your life has changed overnight, right? So making those mistakes in virtual reality is a lot less painful than in the real world.
Right. And how are you currently acquiring these clients? Like, how do they know you exist? I guess both on the enterprise side and the consumer side.
Yeah, the consumer side, like so we're currently somewhere around the mid-30s in the most popular non-gaming VR apps in the world right now. So there's organic traction that we get from the Meta Horizons store. And then we also have obviously social media and things like that. And we've been around for a while. So people that were early adopters to VR, you might have seen Liminal on, devices going back to the Gear VR or Oculus Go. In terms of clients, what we do a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, and we get approached by a lot of people there. Like I've got, I think around 21,000 followers now on LinkedIn. I'm often getting, inquiries about, hey, we're thinking about doing this project or that one, or we're getting referrals from existing clients or repeat business from clients. As an example, we've done a couple of projects with CPA Australia, the accountancy body, and we're doing another project with them now. So a mix of social media, including LinkedIn referrals and repeat clients.
Right. And I guess it's quite a specialized solution. So are you finding that there is some pushback? Are you finding that there's a massive education process and why they need this? Or is it super exciting and they can't wait to get in and you've got lines out the door?
So all the above.
Okay.
Because VR is a medium and the types of projects we can be working on can be so varied. Sometimes it's just an obvious use case and people contact us and they're like, look, we want to train people on how to do this, to train them in the real world. It costs us $50,000 every time we do it or whatever it is. Or it's super dangerous, or logistically it's very difficult, or the machines are too big and heavy and we only have, one or two, oftentimes we'll be contacted and that's an easy solution. Sometimes we're contacted by people that just want to do something in VR and we'll sometimes even talk them out of it. I had a client once say to me, a prospective client say, hey, I'd love to get a PowerPoint presentation in virtual reality. I'm like, cool. Do you want to be like immersive and interactive? It's like, no, just PowerPoint in VR. Where I said to him, have you considered PowerPoint? PowerPoint works really well for PowerPoint type stuff, right? So it's not always suitable. And then, we'll be, very upfront with the clients about that. But then, other times it's like we can offer a solution that maybe a client hasn't thought about. And then there is that whole education process and explaining how to roll it out into their business and the benefits and ROI that they can receive.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got it. And so then, Damian, what are some big priorities for the next 12 months?
Yeah, well, we're always working on growing the Liminal platform. Like I said, we have over 135 different experiences now, and those experiences are created, roughly half are created by us, and the other half created by a global network of partners that we have that we give access to our research to and collaborate with. And then, like we're working on some very exciting stuff that's under NDA that I can't talk about, but broader than that too, just, delivering projects for clients. We're always open to having conversations as to how we can help facilitate training in different ways or help people market different experiences.
Okay. And then a really favorite question of mine, because I always get strange answers, is, so let's say that you had a magic wand, right? And you could wave it over one big problem, whether that's in the industry or whether that's in the business, and you could solve it like that. What would that big problem be right now?
Well, in VR, I think form factor is really important. So I think Meta have a really good approach to what they're doing. They're trying, and Mark Zuckerberg has spoken about this. They're taking it from two different angles. Like on the one end, you have like the Ray-Ban smart glasses, the best possible form factor that you can get, really indistinguishable from just standard Ray-Bans. And then on the other end, you have like the Meta Quest. And they're working to try to shrink the Meta Quest and add more functionality to like the Ray-Ban form factor until eventually it reaches a form factor that's not too different from conventional sunglasses, but gives you a fully immersive experience, or possibly VR, MR, depending on what you want to use it for. So if I could wave a magic wand, it would be to have Ray-Bans that could deliver a full, maybe 120-degree field of view with realistic graphics that completely remove the friction of putting headsets on and off.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel like we'll get there in the next couple of years?
No, I think in the next couple of years, we'll make some great progress towards that. But I think when we're talking about the ideal form factor, that will still take time. But as I said at the beginning, the current form factor and the state of the market with the Meta Quest range is actually very, very useful as it is now. The friction of using a Meta Quest 3 is trivial compared to previous generations of hardware where you needed a gaming computer. But we've already seen demos of the Orion glasses, the mixed reality glasses, and I think within the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to get to that almost ideal form factor. But physics is something you have to shape atoms, right? So it'll take a while before it's perfect, but we're making great progress every year, and where the technology is today is super useful.
Right. Yeah. And obviously Microsoft just released this new chip the other day, and AI seems to be exponentially growing and getting more powerful. So hopefully those help. Are you using any AI in any of the experiences or in building Liminal?
Yeah. Like I'm very bullish on AI. I know it's very controversial. Like you seem to have a couple of camps. On the one camp, AI, as it is today, it can replace your entire workforce and is just amazing and a supercomputer. And then on the other hand, it's like, oh, well, these LLMs are actually quite stupid and, it's all hype and it's all bubble. I believe that where we are today, again, and in a similar way to how I mentioned VR, is super useful with LLMs. We do generate use it to help us generate very specific types of content that would be impossible to generate realistically without using AI. And we see the future of AI as being huge.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. Okay, then so finally, Damian, given that you have been the CEO of Liminal VR for 10 years in an industry that had the bottom fall out when you sort of first began and dropped dramatically in valuation, if you could go back and start again, what are some big things that you would change in your journey to get to where you are today?
Wow, it's a difficult question to answer because like these last 10 years have honestly changed me. And I feel that a lot of the mistakes that I had made, me and Nick, because we run the company together, kind of had to make to get to where we are now. But certainly, if I was able to go back from the very beginning, I would have had a much faster focus on commercialization. We initially launched Liminal completely for free for a number of years while we were building it out, and more emphasis on lead generation for the studio side of our business when we were first starting out.
Okay, got it. And so I really appreciate the insights today, Damian. If people want to connect or they want to check out Liminal or they want to even download the app, like where can they go and how can they do that? Because I don't own a Meta Quest. Do you suggest I get one and download the app? Like how does that all work?
Yeah, for sure. If you're in the market for a headset, I would strongly recommend a Meta Quest 3 or less. And if you have one, you can just do a search for Liminal. As I mentioned, you can download Liminal for free. And if you want to learn more about us, you can just search for Liminal VR on all the major social networks, especially LinkedIn. We've got quite a presence there. Always happy to speak to people about the technology and try to add value to their business using VR in many different ways.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I highly recommend everyone go check you guys out. I'll leave links and stuff like that in the descriptions. So go there. But thank you so much, Damian. I think what you guys are doing is really cool. Check out the website. I think you'll be blown away by some of the examples that they have there. Super exciting industry. Can't wait to see where it goes. And thank you very much for coming on the podcast today. And we will see you guys in the next episode.
Thank you so much, Jordan. Bye-bye.